Thank you all so much for hopping on this call with us. This is our little mastering marketing magic. So we are essentially going to talk to you about how you can market your chapter, both kind of on and off campus, to get more volunteers, to retain volunteers. Marketing is really kind of all encompassing. So um, we'll touch on a lot tonight. We probably won't get to it all, but we'll definitely share some more tips and tricks and things that we hope will be helpful to you. So just to kind of introduce ourselves, I know we've met quite a few of you already. My name is Julia Gerard. I'm the program manager here at FRN. My role is essentially to support all of our programs, all of our current chapters, and start new chapters. Was actually part of an FRN club chapter myself when I was back in college, and now have had the pleasure to talk to students and faculty all across the country for the past 2 years through FRN National. So lots of different experience with food recovery and with this. So excited to chat with you all today. Fran?
Oh, I'm Fran Alvarado, and I'm the program associate. So I'm Julia's left-hand little lady, and I answer all the emails. And I think I've met all of you. I'm really excited. Welcome. Oh, and I ran a chapter too. Well, I was an advisor. I was never a student in it, but food recovery at Northern Arizona University in Arizona. Yeah, wait, it's in the title. Great. Anyways, we're gonna here we are. We're going to talk about what we're going to talk about today. So there are many ways to approach marketing, as we've already kind of touched on. And this presentation is going to touch on just a few of the elements of what marketing is. And so we're going to look at an overview of the different ways you can increase your FRN presence on campus. And we're also going to look at how to expand your volunteer base, increase or help boost your chapter social media. And then after, we're going to look at some marketing platforms and a media release kit FRN has created, which I think is really cool because we've never had one before. So this is going to be so great. And then at the end, we'll end it with an activity slash a workshop for us to help you write a media release, which I'm really excited to see how it goes. But yeah, if you want to keep the conversation going, asking questions however you see fit on the chat, so awesome. And we'll do our best to address those questions. Oh, here we go. We're gonna watch this really short mini video on TikTok because I think TikTok's the best. And let's see. And I think it does a really fantastic job at explaining what marketing is. So
We can't hear the audio from your.
that makes sense. Do I make it louder? Okay. We can go to beginning. Is that better?
It is not, but let me see if I can get mine.
Do you want to do it?
Okay. Well, I'm actually going to take over for a second.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. No,
Let's
do it.
see if mine will let me. Okay.
Oh no, I think we could just watch it and read it
Can you hear it?
as a backup plan. You can't hear it.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was hoping it would work.
Or
Okay.
maybe we could read it out loud.
That's okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna read it. So essentially, she's talking about the different kind of subcategories of marketing. Sorry, technical difficulties, everybody. But essentially, like a circus is coming into town. You put up the sign. Um, And that's advertising. I'm literally just gonna read this. If you put the sign on the back of an elephant walking to town, that's promotion. And if the elephant walks through the mayor's flower bed and the local newspaper writes a story about it, that's publicity. So like there's so many different little kind of sections of marketing, right? So we're gonna try to hit all of those. There's a few more. This girl talks really, really fast. So that was actually really a struggle on my end. But I'm gonna let you guys read the rest of these instead of me saying them out loud. We didn't let her ask us, but that's okay. Fran, I'm gonna let you share again. um, but essentially she's just breaking down, right, what marketing is. It's promoting, it's advertising. So the rest of this presentation is really just going to show you how you can do that on your own campus. So, cool. Okay. Stemming off of that, um, volunteer recruitment and communication strategies. So let's talk about some strategies or steps on how to recruit more friends and how to communicate with your current volunteer base if you already have a group set up. Um, so how to communicate with your volunteers is super important because you don't want to lose volunteers because they're confused on how to sign up, how to get involved. We want to make sure that we're really communicating with them directly and in a way that they can understand what's going on and will be interested in volunteering with FRN. So having that strong membership base, right, that you're communicating with is going to strengthen your overall impact and your growth on campus too. So step one is to kind of find the right sign up system for your volunteer shifts. We've seen chapters use Microsoft Forms, Google Forms, Google Sheets, Linktree, Sign Up Genius, signup.com, lots of different places. Keep in mind, you're going to want to communicate with these volunteers after they've signed up for a recovery. So, like, Sign Up Genius is really nice because they can sign up for a slot. You can put in all the information that they might need in order to actually start or to actually go do the food recovery. And then you can put in like send a reminder email afterwards. Google Sheets is nice because it's super editable, right? You can make your own template. You can make things the way that you want, but you might have to go back in there and send them an email after the fact with all the information they might need. So that's just a few different that I'm kind of sign up systems that I mentioned. You can definitely click around on our Instagram and see the chapters we follow and see what they have in their links in bio. A lot of them use Sign Up Genius. They'll have a spreadsheet, they'll have a form if you're looking for like a template or just some different ideas on that end. So step one, once you've found kind of that right system, step two is going to be how are you going to communicate with those volunteers, right? So I mentioned sending an email out after. This could be just straight up on Google, Gmail. You could make kind of a volunteer at FRN at your college Gmail or Google account, which is really helpful because in case anyone ever has any questions, they can just email that volunteer email that you've made. And then it's just not one person on your executive board fielding questions. It can be multiple people. So would definitely recommend starting kind of your own FRN drive or FRN email. So you could use Gmail. Some chapters will use like GroupMe, Slack, WhatsApp, Discord, some sort of just way to be like, hey, we have extra food. We're about to do food recovery, something that could be quick and kind of builds like that community too when you use kind of one of those little apps. Or there's another one called MailChimp that is to send out kind of more large mass emails to a large group of people. We'll talk a little bit more about that one later on. That's kind of the second step, right? How are you going to consistently communicate with your volunteers? And then step three kind of builds community a little bit more is creating a social media account. We highly, highly recommend doing this as one of the kind of first steps in starting a chapter, or even if you have had a chapter for a little bit. I know Mary from Pitt, you guys have a great Instagram. You're always posting all the time. We see all those posts. Sometimes it's recaps, things like that. We'll talk about some more kind of examples of really good social media posts and accounts. But Instagram is definitely the most popular among our chapters. It also is probably the most popular around the generation too. But some folks use it to say there's food in a community fridge. They talk about upcoming events. It's just a really good way to kind of recruit and communicate those needs. So I'm good, Fran, if you want to go to the next slide.
Okay. And then after you have all your friends and you're talking to them, we think these are some refreshers on what you can do. And so the first one is hosting events, and you can host an educational event like Weigh the Waste. And I think that's the coolest one because you get to build relationships with the back of house, the kitchen, the front of house with students, and then your dining hall. And then, so if you want more information on that, we have a guide for that. The second thing, oh, and then you can also do advocacy. So I know some of you on the call are just starting a chapter and you're waiting for your dining hall to say yes. So advocacy is another option you can do, and writing on the Food Date Labeling Act is one of the things that we are promoting. So if you want information on that, we also have some really cool links to that. And then the second thing would be class presentations, which I found were really effective at Northern Arizona University. And I went to classes that no one ever heard of, or like just like food recovery wasn't talked about, right? So like anthropy or math class, or just to get a different viewpoint of a different college, honestly, because there was way too many colleges on campus. But I think doing cute little 5-minute intros, being like, hey, we're food recovery, and this is what we do. We're looking to expand. And that's another option for getting more friends in your chapter. And then the last thing that I found at NAU was really effective was offering to sign off on volunteer hours, whether it was for nonprofit um, requirements for what they needed or for community service. And both of those were really effective. I do want to say if you experience a loss in volunteers, which happens sometimes because sometimes your chapter's like super off the wall and uh, everyone and anyone is in it, and then next semester. But we're here to say if you experience a loss in volunteers between semesters, it's okay to adjust the number of activities, the number of recoveries, and commitments on a weekly, monthly, or semesterly basis to match your new capacity to avoid exhausting your most passionate volunteers. I want you to remember that at the end of the day, like, we care about your health and your well-being, and that's what comes first. Oh, this is a question I thought was really fun, and I want to ask it in the chat since there's a few of us now. Are there any activities that you really want to host this year or you're planning? And my favorite one I've seen on Instagram so far is Fern with Friends. Chapters are like planting ferns, and my name is Fran, so I always think it's so funny, Fern and Fran. So, I know tomorrow NAU is doing their yearly spread the love with peanut butter and jelly sandwich drive right now or tomorrow. So, yeah, is there any events you guys are doing, or if you need help either too, like if you're just like, oh my gosh, I need more resources on Weigh the Waste, you put that in chat and I will definitely email you after.
Perfect. I did see a few just going on Instagram before this. A lot of Friendsgivings happening, which I just feel like is really solid wordplay with the FRN and then Friendsgiving. So, cute stuff on that one for sure. Okay, let's keep going. But yeah, if you have any activities or thoughts or questions for us, feel free to pop those in the chat. Okay, let's talk a little bit about promotion. So in our case, promotion is kind of to increase brand awareness and create interest, right? We want to talk about Food Recovery Network. We found actually in terms of doing chapter outreach and just outreach on campus, one of the best ways is word of mouth. So stirring up interest, doing different things. And these are kind of 3 different categories on how to spread the word of FRN. So putting up flyers, these can be everywhere and anywhere, right? They could be on coffee shops, in the dining hall. When I was a student, most of our chapters, right, are working with their dining partners. When I was a student, we asked dining if we could put little like slips in the napkin holders that talked about FRN, or they put us on the TVs, different things like that. So you could put up flyers, you could put up information on TVs across campus. It's really just how can you kind of promote yourself, right? There's so many different clubs on a college campus. There's so many things that are happening. So how can you kind of just put yourself out there in that indirect communication, which is what flyers do for you. So another great way to promote your chapter is just partnering with other organizations. So this could be for events, this could be for recoveries, this could be just for volunteer service. We have so many chapters that will do different collaborations. It doesn't even have to be a group that really directly works with food or volunteer service. Sometimes we have sororities, which do often do philanthropy work. So sometimes it connects, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there will be different health orgs, different business clubs, things like that, groups like that, that have a really strong volunteer base that are looking to do some volunteer service, and FRN plugs in really nicely for those. So I would definitely recommend talking to your friends that are in other organizations, see if you guys want to collaborate. It could be on recoveries. They could take a weekly recovery spot, or you guys could even just go volunteer at your local nonprofit together to bring all of your volunteers in with another group as well. So that was kind of the second one. And then the one we'll touch on a little bit more later on is being highlighted in the news. Oftentimes we do have chapters that are highlighted in the news. This could be the school newspaper, newsletters, interviews on school radio programs. The world is kind of your oyster. And it's really, really cool being highlighted. And so we're going to give you a few tools at the end of this to show you how you can also highlight what your chapter is doing. But being highlighted in the news does a few things. It spreads awareness of FRN and the student movement, right? This is all, everybody's a student doing all this amazing work. It also cements your work in history, right? This is stuff being published, and it also increases hope, right? In these times, we all need to see people doing good things, and you are all doing amazing, amazing things. So, kind of being highlighted in the news is really cool, and we're gonna show you how you can do that too. Can go to the next slide, Fran.
This is great. Such good information. And so I wanted to highlight some Instagram posts that I found in the last week that are super cool and engaging, and some of the things that I see that have the most likes. And so the first one is a mid-semester recap, and I think that's really inspiring because you remember what you do with your chapter at that semester. And then the second one is from Brown University, and I thought that was cool too because just 6,589 pounds, like that's so cool. And then that's within the 690,000 that chapters did with FRN National or Food Recovery Network as a network. And I thought that was cool. And then the last one is just always making sure that you have faces in your pictures of smiling faces, not sad ones. Okay? And I really like Northern Arizona University for obvious reasons. Just kidding. But I also think they do a really cute job in taking pictures of all of their food recoveries. And yeah, but these are just some ideas for posting, not all of them. I think there are other ways you can also promote your upcoming club events, your meetings, your potlucks. I cannot wait to look at all the friend giving FRN posts. That sounds so cool. Sharing food safety tips, I think, is really helpful in between while you're looking for new posts to post. And one of the things I want to say is don't be afraid. Just go post your first post if it's your first post. Like, just get out there and post, and it's going to be so fun. And then it's always a good time to share stories of successful food recoveries. Always. We love them. And yeah. And just want to reiterate, follow us on Instagram because it's so fun. We repost everything and super informative. And then you'll be the first to know about all of the insights.
Okay, so oh, I am unmuted. Perfect. Talk a little bit about some of these marketing tools I mentioned earlier. Like I said, there's so many different ones. I'm just going to highlight these two. You may have heard of one or both of them, but Canva, right? You can do a lot of different graphic design things on that. It is free. There's a free version. So I would definitely recommend checking that out if you have not already clicked through Canva. Super user friendly. You know nothing about graphic design, but there's so many templates. And I would say most, if not all, of our chapters look to be on Canva and using that for a lot of social media design. So definitely check out Canva. And then the other one is MailChimp. This is essentially like a mailing website. So you can sign up, have your own account for free. You can have up to 500 people on your mailing list in the like free version. And you can design these really cute emails and send out an email talking about the food recovery schedule that just dropped or the event that you're going to do all in one fell swoop. And make it a little bit more designy than just a straight up like Google email from your email account. There we go. So I would definitely recommend using MailChimp. It's also very user friendly in terms of pre-planning emails. So you could kind of do everything in one fell swoop. Or it also lets you look at your audience list and it allows people to unsubscribe. So if you have a large volunteer base, so up to 500 people, I would definitely recommend using MailChimp. This is what we use at FRN National to email everyone as well. So would recommend. Fran, did you have anything else to add on those two?
I second everything Julia says. It just made it so much easier to visualize everything.
Perfect.
It's, and then I wanted to talk about two more resources to leverage. And one of them is right on campus, your student government. And I'm sure most student governments do funding for anything related to clubs. So it could be travel or, I don't know, your activities. And then another thing I wanted to talk about is that usually most universities have a marketing department that will help you get your digital assets across screens, across campus, which I think is super helpful as well. So I'm sure if you just do a quick Google on your university, if you don't already know, that's how I would do and utilize on-campus resources. And then I know that it's not NAU also does this, where it offers you resources on making your digital assets for you, but you don't have to do that anymore because we're going to give you some really cool templates. So I don't know why I'm using that. But second thing is, of course, FRN grant funding. So up to 300 for however you see fit. And if you want to do a one-on-one to talk about in detail what that looks like, that'd be so, I'm here for it. And you can use it for marketing tools or resources like printing costs and events, like we talked about the Way to Waste and Burn with Friends and Friendsgiving. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. But anything food recovery related, advocacy related, chapter engagement is all will all be approved.
I just want to add to that. Everything that Fran said is spot on. And on that grant application, you can also request merch. So hats, t-shirts, stickers, buttons. We didn't talk a lot about how you can use merch to advertise and to market your chapter, but definitely we offer some free merch on there. So check that out. It's on our student resources page on our website, and you can request a bunch of stuff. And then that could be for when you're tabling, which is a whole nother conversation, right? But when you're tabling, you're just talking about your chapter, you're putting stickers places, like handing them out, that kind of thing. So cool. All right. Just wanted to add that little tidbit, but we can go on to that next slide. Thank you, Fran. Perfect. So we're going to talk a little bit about those resources and toolkits we've been mentioning. I'm going to talk about each one and then kind of share where you can find these on our website as well. So we have flyer templates. We have a media release template, two different ones, and then kind of a social media engagement toolkit, really just to kind of start you off in terms of posting about your chapter. So Let's go through each one. Fran, can you share your screen so we can show them how to access the flyers? Perfect. So this is our website. This is the student resources page where you can find everything and anything on here. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll first see that grant funding application that we were talking about where you can order that merch. And then here under that volunteer resources button, this is where most of the things we'll be talking about today are. So if you scroll down a little bit to flyers and handouts and click into that, I know it's kind of nestled in a little bit, but these are flyers that you can edit. So you can either just download like the PNG and the PDF, change things around there, or you can click where Fran just did, and it brings you to this template. It doesn't look exactly how it'll look on your computer because we're already like logged into Canva. But what you can do is just it'll let you view them. It won't let you directly edit them, but it'll let you copy them. So if you make a Canva account and then you click that button, it will then let you copy the template and then you can move things around. You can kind of write in, contact us at X, Y, and Z email, different things like that. There's a few different designs on here. Again, these are just if you're looking for a place to get started. Lots of folks make their own flyers and different things, but these are just some templates if you're looking for something to just quick plug and chug. Cool. Any questions on the flyers, how to do that on Canva? Okay, cool. Well, if you do have any, let us know. Fran, will you go back to the student resources page for me? Or well, yes, that's perfect. So go back down to the bottom. If you go back to that volunteer resources page, sorry, I know you had that one open in a different tab. Um, just to kind of show you don't have to click into a brand, but we have a few different things on this page that helps you with recruiting new volunteers and engaging them. So there's an entire volunteer recruitment guide that Lena will answer some more questions on how to recruit volunteers. We've sprinkled some in, but that really goes into depth in a lot of different ideas. And then if you scroll down, we have a few different like event kits that you can use. So that one's how to throw a little grocery bingo. Again, you can use your funding to do that. That's engaging volunteers. And then we have a little kind of movie night kit as well for our partners, FarmLink. So that's our volunteer resources page. I'll talk about kind of that other one that was on the slide. Fran, if you click on that social media engagement toolkit, that button right there, perfect. So this is kind of a quick little 4-step on how to grow your chapter's social media network page, right? So first step first, you can scroll, Fran, sorry. You just, first step is always the hardest. Just start a chapter, start an account, I should say. And then follow FRN. Definitely go through and follow other FRN chapters too. So many good ideas. We'll be sure to follow you back. We have all of the different social media accounts. If you're looking to share a post, we have a little example post here. If you want to just kind of start out broad talking about Food Recovery Network, and then over time you can get more into specific accomplishments and things that are happening in your own chapter. So these are some different examples. Perfect. And then step 3, invite your friends to follow you on Facebook. It's kind of cool. You can like literally share your Facebook like side account, aka the FRN account, with your friends. You can also just kind of cut and paste a link to your social media profiles and share those posts that you have made with your FRN. Or of course, reposting things to your story, right? That always brings in friends as well. So definitely share with your network and with those partner organizations that you might be working with or have worked with in the past, your new FRN Instagram or social media. Perfect. And then specifically, kind of some of the tips and tricks in terms of social media engagement in general, right? We love a graphic. We love fun little different ways to inform and to advocate. But if you're doing something with photos, make sure you have some smiling faces, some food, right? Show what you guys are doing, show how other people can make an impact with you as well. So this is just kind of a basic step-by-step on how to get started. If you have any questions specifically on like the color schemes or things like that with FRN, let us know. The only main thing we ask for student chapters to do is you can make your own logo, you can keep our logo, and add like FRN at X, Y, and Z college. We just ask that you don't like move around the physical logo themselves, but you can kind of add things to it and move it around, or you can just start from scratch as well. So nothing super specific on that. We just ask that it's obvious that this is the Food Recovery Network chapter at X, Y, and Z University. So it doesn't look like you are the national branch, because you might get some random questions. Cool. Okay. So those were those two resources. Perfect. And then Fran, you want to go to those media templates for me, please? These I did not put on the website because we're just going to email these out to you all. Do you have them, or do you want me to share my screen? I can share mine. Okay. Oh, wait, you got it. Perfect. Okay, so we have two different media releases. I know that this sounds kind of scary to like send a release to a media group, but these are really kind of easy to do. This is really just going to be a plug and chug, and these are like the four steps to do so. So step one is you're going to identify journalists that would be interested in your story, right? So we're looking for communication teams, looking for the editor. You can start with your school newspaper, see if there's a contact information and like a procedure. Sometimes specific newspapers, newsletters will have like contact this person in order to send in your story. So that's kind of step one, is seeing where you want to send in your story. And again, it doesn't have to be a specific thing, right? You don't have to be volunteering at a specific nonprofit in order to do this. Like your chapter as is already something worth a media release for. So don't think you have to do something like super crazy or cover from the world's largest football game or something like that. Like this is, you guys are doing all these recoveries and all this great work already, and that's great to be shown to your community. So that's step one, right? Identifying those journalists. Step two is you're going to edit the press release below, which we'll show you in a second. And then step three will be to just send the release. And then step four is you might have to do it a few times. Our director of communications, Sarah, wrote this, and she wrote a little extra blurb of you might have to do this a few times to the same people in order for them to follow up with you. So those are the steps. It's not even really fully 4 steps, right? Find a contact, fill out the template below, and then send that release. So Brian is showing you we have 2. This one is focused on ending holiday hunger, and there's a lot of kind of media interest this time of the year around hunger and nonprofits. So this is kind of just literally a plug and chug, and then you can send it to any of those journalists, any of those local newspapers around you. So you can just make sure you don't send them page 1, but send them page 2 and 3. So this is a template. You can just copy that over and go from there. So that's our student holiday media release. And then Fran, will you just show the other one just so they can see it? Still has that same kind of how-to first page. And then the second page, this is for at any point in the year, in case no one has time to do this right now with that holiday one. This is just talking about how you are fighting hunger, how you are fighting food waste every single time you do a food recovery. And this actually invites a media person to come with you on a food recovery to showcase your work. So that is our 2 kind of media templates, toolkits that you can use towards showcasing your work. And I will say this kind of goes off of what we use at FRN National, which has had great success. And you can definitely change this up as well. This is just a template. You can and make it how you'd like. Oh.
Hi. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to close this up for the night, and we're gonna actually hang out for a few and do our activity we were talking about. So actually not close this up for the night. But as always, I'm here for you. So if you want to schedule a one-on-one, you can and you should. And I'll drop that link here soon after I get off of this. If you want to email us at programs@foodrecoverynetwork.org and make sure that you add us as a contact so we don't end up in your spam. And then, as always, you can visit foodrecoverynetwork.org to look at all the beautiful resources that we have.